Hey, sports fans, Coach Nick here, and welcome to the post-game live show. We just finished Game 2 of the Lakers versus Miami Heat. And I got to tell you, let's give some props to the Heat for battling a little bit there. They were definitely shorthanded without Dragic and without Bam Adebayo. But they gave the Heat a little bit of something. But all I can tell you overall, my impressions as we're all streaming in here is it just felt like they were on the verge of a blowout the whole time. And primarily because the three-point shooting was interesting. While the Lakers didn't shoot that well from behind the arc, and they took a ton of them, they did make 4 or 5 more threes. And for most of the game, they had 5 or 6 more threes. And that's just not going to cut it for what the Heat need to do. The Heat need to make more threes than the Lakers and outscore them from behind the line. That's going to be a really key component. So the Heat went 11 for 27 for a little over 40%, which is pretty good. But the Lakers hit 16 of 47 for 34%, which is not, 34 isn't terrible. It's a little bit below average, but when you're going to outscore them by 5 from behind the arc, that 15-point gap, they won by 10, and that's kind of what was keeping them the Heat from getting a little bit closer. So, but here's the thing, guys. As I am getting everyone streaming in here. So I heard you in the comments. I certainly saw plenty of Laker fans really, really upset with the last 2 videos, although they somehow conveniently forget the video I did before that about LeBron dominating, but we'll get to that later. So I said, you know what? Let's bring some of the people in here who are really upset about this, and let's let them have it. Let me have it. Tell me what you think. Let's get down to the bottom of this thing and find out what's going on and once and for all why everybody wants to yell at me for being a LeBron hater and a Laker hater and all that stuff. So we got David coming in here first, and he's gonna let me break it down for me. So here comes David. What's up, man? How are you today?
Oh, doing pretty good. Doing pretty good. Appreciate you for having me on.
Hey, my pleasure. You know what? Because it's like I'm not avoiding this. I'm not ignoring the comments. I see them. I want to make sure everyone's happy. So I reached out to you because I think you were one of the vociferous people out there, kind of making some noise. So give me the gist of what it was in the comments that you were letting me have it with.
So I don't think your breakdown was all based. I don't ever think they are, but I think just the focus of it was a little off. I think anytime the Lakers win, they win with size, their physicality, and they win just because they have the best 2 players on the floor. And I think anytime we're talking about a Lakers win, that has to be the main focus. LeBron, who, obviously I think is, the best player in the world. And then AD, who's just a matchup nightmare, unlike anybody except for maybe old boy in Brooklyn, number 7 in Brooklyn. So I think anytime you don't highlight those 2, I think that's when you start to get Laker fans in your mentions talking crazy.
You know what? I get it. I mean, listen, I'm coming from a coach's perspective, underdog. We know what they can do. I think that I was trying to think about this earlier today. We know they're amazing. I certainly tell everybody that these 2 guys are so much better than anybody else on the floor that it makes it okay that they have guys like, I was saying before, like Caruso probably wouldn't be as good on Orlando, if he was playing there, right? Or even KCP. But when they're on the Lakers, they look really much better. So I hear you. So I think I can do that. I think I can maybe make a little bit more of an effort to point out like what I guess I assume we all already know, and it's almost like, well, what am I going to really show? What kind of insight is that to show? Well, LeBron is going to go right by the guy. His the guy's going to go flying off of him because he's not nearly as strong, and he's going to hit a nice finger roll. So I hear you, but that's you think that's what it was. Really, the focus is I wasn't giving enough shine to those 2.
Yeah, I mean, those 2, and then also just the Lakers' physicality. I think that's been the whole playoffs. Obviously the injuries played a part in it, but I do think the Lakers' physicality had a part to play in that. You saw all those injuries had to do with just physical defense. I think the Lakers by far have the most physical defense in the playoffs. And I think the Heat aren't really used to it after going against the Celtics. Kemba Walker, who could struggle defensively, and his cancer. The Lakers don't really have too many weaknesses on defense. Maybe Rondo. So I think whenever you don't highlight that, I think that's when, Laker fans are going to get a little upset with you. And then, whenever you bring up a Bron travel, us clients of Clutch Sports, we're going to come defend our man over there.
Fair enough. I mean, we've been really doing a lot of traveling, focusing, especially on Twitter. So I think it bled over into the YouTube side. And, I just, that's something that maybe people don't notice or know the rules. So, but I hear you. Yeah.
The NBA traveling rules, a lot of people, a lot of fans, casual fans, they don't really understand it with the gather and 3 steps and things like that. So I do appreciate you highlighting some, but anytime you mention anything negative about LeBron, you're gonna get losers like me coming in your comments.
Well, listen, thank you so much for breaking that down. I will pledge to follow some more of those guidelines and see if we can't get the Laker fans more back on my side, because they're a great source of views, and so I don't want to lose them. So, David, thank you so much for coming on and break it down. I really appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you.
All right, take care. Be safe. Okay, well, before we bring on Gavin, and also I got to have it. There's somebody else who's waiting in the wings. Let me just see if I can't. Let's see here. Do this. You might see me do a little bit behind the scenes while I'm getting everything organized here. I need a producer one of these days. But I have a couple of super chats. So let's talk about that real quick, because remember, if you want to get your questions in and get me right away, that super chat's the way to go. So Xavier Smith, Javier Smith, I don't know which one it is, but thank you so much. Hi, Coach. AD or LeBron leading your Finals MVP? That I was thinking about that all game long, man. And it's like, listen, I think AD is in the lead. I think his box score numbers are a little bit more robust. Although, watch, let me look at LeBron's final numbers, because he probably had a triple double, right? No, 14 rebounds. 9 rebounds, 9 assists, 33 points, while AD had 32. It is neck and neck. And remember, if it's neck and neck, if it's that close, it goes to LeBron without question. So we'll see how LeBron reacts to that. But keep your eye on that. That's going to be one of the big intrigues of this series. Quick Draw Chev, really quickly. Thank you so much. From the Philippines, I think. Rondo can't just respect him from beyond anymore, laugh out loud. Yes, absolutely. He is hitting those shots. He is hitting them after holding the ball without any rhythm. Like, I think he did at least 1 or 2 of those, and the Lakers had 4 or 5 of them where they caught it, was looking around, and then like, oh, I'm just going to shoot it now, and it went in. Like, those are hard to make. So, Quick Draw, thank you so much. Great point. Rondo is really is shooting the elite status out there from the playoffs behind the line. Matthew Wu. Let's see, Matahuwu. I don't know how to say that, but I hope I got it. No one in the Heat looked to score in the 4th. For sure, but they have to give the credit to the Lakers defense. They come with so much pressure, so much physicality. Jimmy was at the rim to kind of shoot it and then just threw it away because he didn't want to get up there. And, he was dealing with Anthony Davis and LeBron contesting. So that's really, really tough. And then Moraldo Beats, thank you. Kyle Kuzma was stinking up the joint. There was a couple guys in the Lakers who were not looking really good either. But he's been playing decent for the whole playoffs. So let's give him a break on that one, but not a bad point. He didn't look great. All right. So meanwhile, now that we're here, I need to send an email to Justin out there so he can get in here. And let's bring in Gavin. Where is Gavin's shot? Here we go. Let's bring in Gavin here. And Gavin, thank you for coming on the show. Another guy who was in those comments, pretty vociferous with his Laker defending. So, come at me. What was that? What was getting under your skin so much?
Well, first, I want to say David hit the nail on the head. A lot of stuff he said I agree with, especially the part about us being losers in the comments. He's not wrong. We really are. But
okay.
A couple of things that really I noticed are the titles, like the one of the Nuggets, the one against the Nuggets about the refs. And to me, I was like, the Lakers, the free throws in the series, I've seen that on Twitter everywhere. The free throws were equal in the series. The foul calls probably were in favor of the Lakers. But to me, it isn't as much the refs as it is the Lakers have 2 of the most physically imposing players in the NBA. They I don't know about lead the NBA, but are top the NBA in points in the paint. 2 guys who want to put their shoulder into you and finish over you. And like you said, we were talking earlier about Duncan Robinson, smaller guys tend to foul in that situation. So, yeah, they get more calls. And to me, LeBron is ref like Shaq used to be refed. I mean, seriously, every time LeBron goes to the basket, I feel like there could be some foul called, which obviously that's not going to happen. That's not realistic, but.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's a really good point. So, okay, so let's talk about that, because in that video about the refs, we showed 5, 6, 7 calls that went against the Lakers. So it wasn't like that was why I thought it was fair. But here's what I think happens. I think the title, they're coming in hot from the title.
Yeah.
And like, for instance, in the Laker video, I watched it again. I was like, what is going on here? So the second sentence, I mentioned the injuries. But then I don't talk about that at all until like the last minute of the video. It wasn't a thing. I just kind of threw it in there. I was writing the voiceover or whatever. So I think what happened was people started commenting right as soon as they saw that the first 30 seconds without maybe seeing the whole thing. So what I'm realizing is that people are coming in hot right from the start. Now the titles, I think we all understand what the titles are going on, right? If you want to call me, if you want to accuse me, I will fully plead guilty. I am guilty of wanting people to watch my videos. I'm sorry. I am guilty.
It's okay.
Put the cuffs on. So I just hope you guys understand that. Like, remember, I need people to watch the videos. The titles are going to be a little bit bombastic and a little bit out there. And I have to just deal with that, I guess. Right.
Another one.
Yeah.
David mentioned the travel calls, and my dad, gosh, he hates the way that NBA travel calls are ref, but I'm like usually the one that can try and explain it. And like you do, you're really good at figuring out these NBA travels. And then there was a video about LeBron that people seem to really dislike how you posted it about when LeBron traveled, which he did because he did
Twitter or on YouTube?
On Twitter.
Yeah, right.
He did travel on that play. And I noticed there's a similar one that Jimmy Butler had tonight with like 2 minutes left in the third, had a drop step in the paint. I think he made a layup. It looked like he shuffled the feet, kind of how LeBron did. And obviously you're not going to post every shuffle you see. That's just dumb. But I think a lot of Laker fans like myself see that and think, well, Jimmy Butler traveled. Why is he talking about that? Why is it always LeBron? Because in the media, LeBron's always a focus, positive or negative.
Yeah. I mean, if it catches my eye, then I do it. Right. Now, my problem was I was trying to catch up from the third quarter. So I might be kind of watching quick and then skipping in between the breaks and the action. So I apologize. I mean, listen, I love to find those and I love to share them because people don't always see them. So to me, it's funny. For whatever reason, I mean, here's the why. LeBron just drives more than anybody, right? Yeah. So it's almost like I don't even see who it is, right? To me, it's like, well, it's just a player who is doing that. And then like later on, I'm like, oh, like, okay, those are all LeBrons. But like, LeBron probably leads the team in drives to the basket. So we're going to have more of those. But I hear you. And you know what? I'm going to have to just take that one on the chin then and just say, there is something about LeBron that does, grab your eyes get glued and you do see it. And there is a volume thing too. So, I hear you. And I will do better to try and point out more people's travels on other teams for sure. I did catch one on Rondo, by the way. Did you see that one? I mean, I know it's the Lakers again.
I saw that one and the KCP one last game where he shuffled his feet in the corner. That was a bad one.
Yeah. Oh, and then also I called out, you know what? So here's the thing. I don't look at it like that, like what team they're on. And I don't know. Right. Like, I can't keep count of like, oh, I've done 5 Laker travels. I got to start doing that.
I'm one of the people that gets upset about that, but I'm articulating what Laker fans see.
I hear you. No, that's good. I got one on Kyle Kuzma too, and you know what? I'm talking to Ronnie now about it because there's a discussion about whether that was a travel where he switched pivot feet. But I'll try and keep a little bit of an eye. When it's going during the game and I'm on Twitter, it's like a mile a minute. It's really hard. But I'll see what I can do. But Gavin, I can't thank you enough for coming on and breaking that down in a very reasonable fashion, and then just even being part of the conversation in the comments on YouTube is just really important to me. So I really appreciate you.
Thanks, man. Love the channel.
You got it, and please stay safe.
You too.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's see if Justin's going to come in here. I'll have to do it on the fly if he clicks on that link that I just emailed him. But other than that, let's see here. We got another super chat. I think I saw. Oh, we got a bunch. Okay. So. You know what? Let me get the super chats and I'll bring Justin in a second. So, where did we leave off? Moraldo beats? No, we got the Trib one. Oh my goodness, friend of the breakdown. Thank you. Has there been co-MVPs for the finals before? Oh my goodness gracious. Has there been co-MVPs? I think that there has, but I don't know who. But something in my mind, my antenna is tingling like that's happened before. And someone's going to probably tell me pretty soon in the comments, right? I wish I could answer that. No. Zero Dang is saying no. Someone look it up. But I don't. I feel like that might. Oh, maybe All Star. Okay. So no one. Everyone seems to think no, but maybe someone will look at it. Okay. And then Zach Glover. How about that free throw discrepancy? And then hang on, Justin. I'll be with you in a second. My complaint with you is that I feel you highlight when Lakers have more free throws, but not the other way. Is that right? What was the discrepancy here? I mean, here's the thing. The Lakers were fouling. You know, they were fouling a lot. So the Heat had 34 free throws, and the Lakers had 17. And the Lakers were shooting a ton of threes. They weren't attacking the basket. Now, you could say that LeBron, there was a couple maybe LeBron got in there, and, like, they were close. They got blocked. But, you know, like the Anthony Davis got blocked. That was really clean. So I think that would be the biggest discrepancy was the Heat were really just attacking, and forcing them to call fouls, whereas the Lakers certainly settled for 47 three-point attempts. That's going to limit some of their free throw attempts. But I'll look at it and see. Nothing really caught my eye on that end, really. I mean, maybe a couple shots in the lane that could have gone either way. But I just feel like they were just settling for threes or looking for threes a lot more, and that was why they didn't get those and more whistles. BB Coach JW33, wow, big friend of the breakdown. Thank you so much. Any way that he can get better on the defensive boards without Adebayo? I was going to say, yeah, just put Adebayo in the lineup. That'll make it better. I don't know. Like, Olynyk it's not his thing, really. He's not great at that. You know, maybe Myers Leonard could give him a little bit more on the boards. He just looked so out of it and discombobulated, but he did hit a three. I mean, what else did Myers Leonard do real quickly? Did he get some rebounds? He got no rebounds in 9 minutes, so that's a problem. Anybody else? No. It's going to have to be by committee and guards and everybody crashing. There's just not much else they can do. So it's not almost like it's not fair, and it's almost a credit just to them to stay close because of that. So, okay, let me add Justin to the rendezvous. So you're going to kind of deal with a couple things in the same thing. Justin, you can hear me, right? All right, you sound great. I'm going to add you to the next shot here. So give me 1 second. Bear with me, everybody. Here, it'll take me about 10 seconds to do. Just going to resize Justin's screen here so he fits properly. Okay, let's do that again. Let's see if I can hit that corner. I know it's late, right? Where are you? Actually, no one can see you yet, Justin. So don't answer that question yet. Let me get you sized. Okay, are you comfortable? Are you all set? Because we're going to go live with you right now. All right, here we go. And so welcome to Justin. Hey, everybody. Now, where are you calling in from, Justin?
I'm from New York.
Okay, so yeah, it's late for you, so I appreciate you staying up with us. But another guy who popped up in those comments was coming in hot for the Lakers. Now, you're a Lakers fan living in New York?
I'm just a LeBron fan. I'll be totally honest.
All right, so let me have it. What was the motivation for you getting in those comments, and what caught my
eye? For me, mostly just kind of trying to spread my gospel wherever I go in terms of LeBron, especially with MJ. And none of the videos in particular really bothered me. Right now, I'm just distracted. I wanted to ask you a question to do with the game about the effect I think we notice a lot as fans, this like letdown effect when guys are injured.
Oh, that's a great. You're right. Yeah.
Because as a fan, right, you want to start talking about psychological stuff. You're like, oh, they weren't in it. Their hearts weren't involved. But I wonder, like, as a coach, you probably have more thoughts schematically about what's going on. Because to me, I see Kelly Olynyk hitting an and one over LeBron James, and I'm throwing my remote at the TV. I'm storming out. I'm mad. But for you, there's probably stuff going on in the preparation. Like, they're all NBA players, right?
Oh, yeah. Well, Olynyk is good. He's done that to a lot of players, and I love the way he did that because if you notice, he went on a left-right off of both feet, but he paused for a little extra second there, and that got LeBron thrown off. And, man, I want to give shit to LeBron because he was trying to yell at somebody else. I know he was yelling at Anthony Davis for getting beat on a bad closeout, which, is true, but, hey, you're the next line of defense. You got to do it, and just why don't you give him a pat on the back and say, hey, do a better closeout next time. So, but I think what happens there, like Kendrick Nunn, they're not used to playing against them. They've been studying Dragic, they're studying Adebayo, and so all of a sudden it's like somebody new. So that's part of it, I think, is where they're just not used to it, to them playing that many minutes. And then certainly there's an amped up thing to it. Like Nunn is really excited. He's going to really be aggressive out there because he's getting a chance when he hasn't had one in a while. And I will say this about him. So Dragic, in my mind, has looked really bad over the last couple of weeks, movement-wise. I know he's scored a little bit and looked good, or the box scores looked okay in some of those games. But now you're throwing a guy who's a much better athlete than Dragic, even when Dragic is healthy.
Yeah, since game one of the Celtics game, he's looked off to me a little bit.
Yeah, you've seen that, right? He just seems like even when he makes it, it's like a struggle physically.
That was the game he had like 25 or something, and everyone first noticed that he was outscoring Jimmy Butler.
Yeah.
And since then, he's been a step slower.
Yeah, so it's a great point. So anyway, but there is a psychological letdown for sure. Like, who is this guy? He's not even a starter. We're going to be able to take him. And then all of a sudden, it's like, wait, he's moving a lot faster than Dragic was, and how are we going to deal with this? So, it's all adjustments. So I would imagine, game 3, you'll probably see a little bit of a different way. They'll force him to his right more, I suppose. Although, it's funny, they're both lefties, and they're both really lefty-dominant people. So we'll see. Now Kelly Olynyk, though, he's good. He's good on offense, at least. I think they even mentioned that in the, in the announcers.
Goofy, I think it makes me.
He does look goofy. He is goofy, but you know what? You can be goofy and be effective, and that's what the Heat are counting on. So
yeah, as well as with Bam out, AD should be theoretically undefendable. With the two guys matching up with him, either it's Myers Leonard or it's Kelly Olynyk. And if it's not one of those two guys, then he's in the teeth of a zone that has the guards on the back line.
Right.
So essentially when he's 11 for 12 in the third quarter, I don't know why he's not shooting on every possession.
Oh, I mean, if you get 12 shots in a quarter, that's a lot. You know what I mean? It's like there are
12 on the game going into the third.
Right. I mean, well, all I know is that during that stretch, it seemed like A, they couldn't stop him. B, he was getting every shot. I mean, and by the way, they had Crowder trying to guard him too, man to man. It's not fair, man. It's just not fair. And but there's I think the sense of like teamwork and like they'll deny him a little bit, and all of a sudden the clock is going down, and someone else is going to have to shoot it. But you are right. He could probably get a few more touches, but then again, then you got LeBron. He's going to want to shoot it, and Kuzma is going to get in there and shoot some. So I think that they're doing a nice job.
The fourth in particular, I was super frustrated because AD, I don't think he scored until maybe the last minute and a half of the fourth quarter.
Oh, that's a good point. Well, then probably LeBron was scoring, right?
LeBron scored a bunch, and there were some just fortunate threes. This game really, that could have gone. I mean, if the Lakers had one of their typical really awful shooting nights that they were having in the seeding games in particular, this could have been a disaster. I mean, granted, the shots were wide open,
right?
The way the zone was being played, but there were a couple in that fourth quarter. There was a Rondo shot where he looked 8 times and shot. That never goes in until the playoff run.
Yep.
He had 16 and 10. He was great. And there was a Kuzma shot in the corner that I thought was going to hit the side of a backboard that just barely slipped in. So there are a couple of things that kept us ahead.
For sure. So, well, listen, anything else you want to yell at me about as far as the LeBron thing? Let
me give you my very brief, distilled case for LeBron.
Okay.
A lot of people, I'm going to save you all the stats, all of the narrative stuff. I'm purely, hopefully this will appeal as a coach, going to talk about them as basketball players.
Okay.
So the way I break it down for myself, first on pure physical attributes, LeBron is all-time level athletic freak, 6'9", 250. He's faster than MJ. He's stronger than MJ.
Yeah, keep talking.
Sure. He's faster than MJ. He's stronger than MJ. He's taller than MJ. LeBron in the open court is probably the best player of all time. He's a ridiculous passer in the open court. As a driver of the basketball, he's completely fantastic. Now, as a rebounder, because of his size, he's a more effective, more impactful rebounder than Michael Jordan. As a passer, he's obviously LeBron's in the all-time great passing conversation. He's probably a good 50% better than Michael Jordan. So already you have massive aspects of the game where LeBron is significantly better. Then you get into the half-court offense and purely scoring. LeBron, again, driving the basketball, creating gravity for teammates with his drives, kicking out. Those are areas where he's significantly better than Michael Jordan. Shooting the shoots the three ball at a higher percentage. Getting to the hoop and scoring at the hoop, he is at a higher clip than MJ. Especially in his prime, like in the Miami years and in the early Cleveland years. What MJ has over him in the half court is by a factor of 100,000 mid-range jump shooting and free throw shooting, which massively helps his efficiency. But their true shooting percentages overall round out to within a percentage of each other. LeBron's is higher by a percentage in the regular season, and it's still a percentage higher in the playoffs. It just ticks up by 1 overall. So again, all he has over him is mid-range and foul line shooting as of now on offense, and a scoring volume that ends up being about 10% higher, like 33 to 30 in the playoffs, 30 to 27 in the regular season. LeBron has about 50% advantages on him in rebounds and assists, and his efficiency is slightly higher. So already, it's looking pretty solid for LeBron on this end of the floor. And then defensively, this is where the arguments frustrate me, because people bring up all defensive teams and stuff like that, which is a matter of perception, not about actual impactfulness. MJ on defense is a shutdown corner, which is super important and helpful. He could take one guy and lock him completely out of the game. But I think continuing the football analogy, like LeBron is a linebacker. LeBron is the quarterback of the defense. He's telling everyone exactly where to be at all time. In his prime, he can guard all 5 positions. He could offer rim protection. He jump passing lanes. LeBron, even now at 35, is guarding guards. Like I feel like LeBron's impact intangibly on defense, and they saw this in defensive real plus minus this season. He was up there with Giannis, second in the league, even with diminished athleticism, in his defensive impact metric. So that's I'll stop there. That's my very brief crash case.
I think did I bring a ringer in here? Do you write for somebody or something? Is this your thing?
No. That's purely my own nonsense.
Right. Well, that's a really great breakdown. Those numbers are very impressive. I can't really argue with those. But I think it's a split hairs when you get to that level and that impact of the game across the board. It's a little bit harder to just use straight stats, especially because you're talking about, like the shooting stuff. Michael they didn't shoot threes, and obviously he would shoot threes now, and he would obviously have the kind of usage percentage that Harden would have now. So it's really hard. I feel like when you're trying to get into that kind of thing, gravity wise, I don't think LeBron has more gravity than Michael did going to the basket like that. But we'll have to see, and there's, I kind of point to some of the intangible stuff about the finals performances too, which you got to factor in when you're that good. But great points. Justin, thank you for coming on and being part of this. I really appreciate it. Thanks for having me. And I'll see you in the comments. All right. Be safe.
See ya.
Okay, well, we're back, and you know what? We might have one more person coming in. We'll see if they click in on that link, but let's see if we have any. Okay, we got some more super chats. So remember, if you want to get me that way, that's the best way to do it. I think Gigolo Pup is out there. Big shout out to him if he's out there doing keeping the chat clean. Oh, okay. I see Ennis is there. I'm going to get you in a second, but let me answer a couple questions here. So the Carolina Kid. All right. Huge Laker fan, and you're doing a great job. Thank you so much for saying that to me because, again, I want to hear from you guys, and I want to make sure that, if there's content that's not being liked by a lot of a segment of my audience, I want to make sure that I can fix that if I can, and certainly make sure that you guys feel like you're heard. So the Carolina Kid, thank you very much for that. I really appreciate it. And then Varun Mispud, one of the best friend of the breakdown, is AD now unguardable because of LBJ? I remember a year or two back, Draymond did a great job at guarding AD in the playoffs, even though Dre is smaller. I mean, I think that's certainly part of it because obviously LeBron's gravity is stronger than anybody else's in the league. And so that's part of it. The Heat just have nobody. If Bam is not out there, every second that AD is, then he is just going to be, we saw that. He just shoots right over them. He grabs every rebound. He gets every putback. It's like playing against college players. So it's just not fair, in that sense for the Heat in their perspective. But but he is better. His jump shooting is better, I think, and even more reliable now, even to the 3-point line. I really wasn't sold about that recently, up until maybe the playoffs. But he's done a lot of work on that. We've seen in the offseason him working and doing some weird stuff with his trainer. But hey, I can't argue with the results. And so that stroke looks really smooth. It's not often you see a smooth jump shooting stroke like that from a guy that tall. So it tells you that you can do it. And so he is now, unguardable. And again, LBJ is a big part of it, but, it's going to be a fight for who gets that finals MVP because AD is going to do some stuff on his own as well. All right, let's see if I can't bring Ennis into here real quick so you can kind of see me. Let's see here. I'm going to bring him in. Ennis, what's up, man? Can you hear me? Awesome. Now, you're a little bit low, but can you boost your mic up a little bit? And I'm going to add you to this real quick. So let's see here. I won't take your time too much, but let me just drag you here and resize you there. All right, so here we go. Live TV. Say something, Ennis. Let me hear you real quick. It's still kind of low. Do you have a chance to do anything with your volume? Or I can boost you a little bit, I think, but a little bit. But I'm going to boost you up, so we'll see if that'll help. So, all right, here we go. Let's bring on Ennis to the show. And, hey, live TV, we'll see how it goes. If we can hear you, great. If not, well, you can use sign language or something. All right, here we go. So welcome, Ennis, to the show. Thank you for coming on. Let's hear you say, let's see what your levels are. How's it going tonight?
It's pretty good. We just got another dub, for the championship of the champs for LeBron James.
Okay. Try and speak in that mic as closely as you can because it's pretty low, but let's see what they say. Yeah, that's okay if it blocks your face because I want to make sure you hear it. But I'm not sure that mic is on. That might be the problem. It might be like you're listening to the other mic, but either way. So let's get into it real quick as far as the Lakers. You were commenting in there, and I welcome you on the show to see what you want to say. What's your take on it, and what's so wrong with what I'm doing on the content against the Lakers and LeBron?
I mean, I actually didn't have that much problem with what we said in the content because I listened to the video and you didn't mean the Lakers didn't have a chance if Bam and Goran weren't there. But obviously, it slims down the chance that they could win the championship without Goran, who was second in scoring for the team, and Bam, who's so versatile, he can switch with all five positions. But I kind of have to disagree with the fact that LeBron was very locked in. For example, he had only 12 and a half, I believe, but he ended up getting 21 and that really helps because the fact that Anthony Davis, in my opinion, I'm a Lakers fan, and I believe he could have won the Finals MVP if he just does the defending and the scoring. But LeBron really helped with that MVP talk, and Lakers are moving the ball very well. In the end, if you saw LeBron, they were playing the zone, 2-3 zone, I believe, and LeBron was in the middle. He was very unselfish, in my opinion. He ended up scoring 11, I believe, in the last quarter, but he was super unselfish. He was moving the ball, and I think it was a great victory for the Lakers.
All right, well, great point. But listen, I got a problem is that we can't really hear you too well, but I'll make sure I relate what you were saying because those were all really great points. But, so what's that? Let's hear.
I just want to fix that a little.
Yeah, it's not, for some reason it's not working, but we'll figure it out. We can do it again some other time, but I appreciate you even trying because, we just can't hear you, but I'll make sure I'll let everyone know. But thank you, Enes, for the attempt, and I heard what you said, and I'll try and make it work. So thanks. Anyhow, well, so he was just, he made some really good points about how LeBron was attacking in the middle. That worked really, and how that worked really well. But it was hard for me, and I even blasted my speakers to hear it. So anyway, live TV, what do you know? And anyway, but I've heard you guys. I've heard the Laker fans. I know what you guys are saying, and I understand why that was an issue. And I'm going to do better. I'm going to try and do better and somehow cover that more. And again, I think my issue ended up being, it's like I kind of feel like we all know how good they are, so it's not that interesting to me to like show a bunch of plays of LeBron doing what he does so well. I'm looking for the things that people don't notice a lot of the time. So that's what happens. Let's see here. He didn't get booed. I just couldn't hear him. Sorry. Now let's get to some notes here that I can start reading from because it was an interesting thing here with what was going on. So, the Heat were hitting some threes to hang around in the beginning. And like I said, because the Lakers were hitting more threes and they ended up finishing, I think, what did I say? 34% from the 3-point line, which is good enough if they're going to outscore them by the 5 or 6 threes. But the Lakers' strength around the hoop is just too good. It's too great. They can't offer anything against that force. It's like they're getting pushed out of the way. How many offensive rebounds the Lakers get? Let's really quickly look at that. So the Lakers ended up getting 16 offensive rebounds. And I don't know. Let me see if I can find the putbacks here, the second chance points. I'm over on, let's see, stats. Is there second chance points here? Yeah. So the Lakers got 21 second chance points. Now the Miami got 14, and they only had let's see here, 6 offensive rebounds. So they must have, I guess, got a couple fouls on putbacks, and I'm trying to picture that. I'm having trouble, but so they were able to balance that out a little bit, which kind of kept them a little bit closer than they would have been normally. Because 21 second chance points is a lot, and then you get outscored by 15 points from the 3-point line. Like, forget about it. You're not going to win that game. Especially because, like we said, the Heat need to score more from the 3-point line than the Lakers to have a chance. So that was a big thing for them. Let's see here. Now, other things in my notes. Caruso deserves a game ball just from his first half performance alone. Did you see that? He had a steal and a save on the sideline that was amazing. He does that routinely. So that was huge. He took a charge, which was iffy, but he took it and they gave it to him. What else? He hit some threes. He had a nice pass that actually went completely unnoticed. They did a replay, if you might remember, against the zone where Caruso hits LeBron on the baseline of the nice bounce pass, and then LeBron quickly hits AD for an easy shot at the bucket. That was Caruso made that happen because he threw a perfect bounce pass with perfect timing right before the forward can get there. And then LeBron also did a really cool thing where his back was to the baseline. So normally a lot of players would have caught that ball and used like their right foot as a pivot and like kind of faced up and like kind of ended up a little farther from the basket. But LeBron kept the left foot down and open to like the half court, and then was able to just simply throw the ball like, sideways towards AD. And that was like, it just sort of next level, and it kept him closer to the defender. So remember, if you want to pass by a defender, it's a lot of times it's easier if you're closer to them so you can kind of do a quick shot fake or get it by them. It's when they have a 5-foot cushion and you're trying to like sort of pass it, they can deflect it or steal it. So by LeBron keeping the left foot down and open that way, he actually kept the distance between him and the man closer, and it made that pass easier. It was really high-level stuff. I'll try and make sure to spotlight that in the video when I do it for the breakdown tomorrow. So that's really cool stuff. So Caruso was just great. Let's see here. Oh, and then also he went for that offensive board at the end of the first quarter, or end of the first half. Where was it? Did I write it down? End of the first, I think it's the first half, and it gave them an extra possession. Now, they didn't score in that possession, but it gave them an extra shot, and they could have made it, and that's huge. Those things add up, and he didn't have to. He could have just stood there and watched the shot go up, and then the buzzer would have went off, and no one would have thought differently. So Caruso really helped. Now, he didn't have that same effect in the second half. So that was interesting. They were, I don't know if he can sustain. He was so good in all the little things. It's hard to keep that up. And they couldn't have the same effect in the third and fourth quarters. And that's why the Heat were able to stay around. Robert McGee, thank you so much. Does it take a super team to stop players of LeBron, KD level, or does good basketball and play beat them? Where does raw talent beat good team play? I mean, raw talent tends to beat good team play a lot, especially in the NBA. But at some point, when you mix like really good coaching and preparation, like look at Giannis. Giannis is raw talent, right? But they couldn't get past the Heat. Good coaching, good play, good team. So that's a great example there. But now you got raw talent mixed with really good skill in AD and LeBron. So suddenly it's a mixture of both. And Vogel is a good coach who's doing great stuff with them. So I think that we're kind of seeing where the rubber hits the road here, and but the bottom line is, it's just too bad. If Bam could play and was healthy, if Dragic was healthy, I was impressed. I thought Jimmy Butler would come out looking, a little bit more stiff with the ankle, but he seemed to play right through it. Butler was, 7 for 17, 11 for 12 from the free throw line, 13 assists. He was setting up guys. And that was another cool thing about what the Heat were doing on offense. They were utilizing the roll man so much, and either on a ball screen roll and then boom, and they would get threes out of that or scores, or handoffs and then rolling, really hurt the defense. I don't want to be a LeBron hater, but LeBron was the victim on the defensive end of not rotating properly on some of those. And he probably is biding his time on certain possessions when they're up by 10, 12, 13. He probably feels like he doesn't need to completely be focused on that end, but they were really getting hurt a lot of that, and they were getting hurt a lot more in Game 2 than they were in Game 1. There was better rotations from the weak side, I thought, in Game 1 than there were tonight, so that was really hurting them. Oh my goodness. Okay. More super chats. Thank you. Varun, again, Varun is the record for most super chats in any one live show. Thank you. Is physicality in these playoffs less compared to the last few years? I remember Golden State Cavs series being physical. Maybe I am biased being a Golden State Warriors fan. Well, certainly what you're remembering is how physical they were on Steph, right? They'd get Steph off ball, running off screens, and they were just pounding the guy. It was crazy. And then on the other end, then you have guys like Bogut and Draymond giving it out as well. This might be, I think this is less physical. LeBron is the guy physical, but he's mostly physical when he has the ball. And then AD is not really physical, But I would say that the Lakers in general are. You got the guys like Caruso. Caruso is physical. He's putting bodies on people. KCP is putting some bodies. Dwight is, doing his thing, although he was better tonight. You cut through the lane against the Lakers, and they're going to put a body on you. But it's not the same intensity, it feels like, as years past, and it's probably part of the cleaning it up as well for the referees. So I think it's a combination, but it definitely there's something a little bit missing, I suppose. But, and the rules have been tightening up a little bit too on some of those things where the intent it comes into play, and they'll review whether or not it's a flagrant now on certain things where they wouldn't have done that even 3 or 4 years ago. So, yeah, really great observation on that one, Varun. I love it. Brian Lau, thank you so much for being a super chatter. No question, it looks like, but hey, thank you so much for the super chat. What else? Should I quickly grab something from the chat here? La Familia Fuerte. Honestly, I don't think Miami is a super team. I'm not putting any of those Heat teams top 5 of all time. Oh, the Heatles. Well, they were a super team. People, it's too bad that people are sleeping on Chris Bosh. He was really, really good. He was as good as he was as good as AD. He really was. And then he completely sacrificed a lot of his game to play in that respect. LeBron is now in a different part of his career, and it's only 2 of them, really, so AD can get all that shine. But it's too bad that Chris Bosh, I think, is going to get sort of forgotten. Wow, the Tech 9, thank you so much. 25-plus year Laker fan. Wow. Fans always complain. By the way, you want to hear a detail about me? I was a huge Laker fan in the 80s. Magic Johnson's my favorite player, one of my favorite players of all time. Fans always complain about hate from media for Lakers. To play the victim card, we're up 2-0 in the finals is sad. You're great, Coach. Thank you so much. I appreciate it because it does make me feel good that there are some Laker fans that aren't going to want to roast me and hang me in effigy because I'm trying to just sort of show, I'm not biased. I don't give a crap who wins these games. I just want a good game. Tonight was a good game. That was fun. It was good to watch. There was some, back and forth, and there was zone going on, and there was adjustments being made. The Lakers played a 1-2-2 zone with Anthony Davis at the top, which was really exciting, and then they took him off the top pretty quickly, which is weird to me. That's what I want to watch. It's all. It's not like anything bad against the Lakers. It's just let's get a good series. They don't have the injuries and stuff. So we might actually get a couple of games here where the Heat can compete. They're showing some real moxie here, and if they can get Bam back, that's really going to help. I honestly feel like the Dragic thing is not a bad thing that he's not playing. I honestly feel like they could be better off without him right now, with Nunn playing well and Nunn just moving a lot better. And then even a guy like Tyler Hero getting some of those minutes too. Let's see, the Trib 1. Oh my goodness, thank you so much. Love Coach Spo. 2-3 zone was never going to work versus his team. Why is he sticking with it? Lakers too good at passing and too versatile with lineups. Well, you know what? It's worth looking at the points per possession. I don't know. In my mind's eye, I'm trying to think. And let's see if Synergy has it up yet, because I might be able to quickly do it while we're talking and do the ad. They don't do the points per possession against zone. Like, you got to add it up, but it's not too hard. Let's see if they've posted it yet. They probably should. Let's see if they've got it done. They might not have it done as a game breakdown. Let's do it. What do you say? Let's look at this. Okay. So half court sets versus zone. Oh, wow. 72 possessions. That's got to be a record. So you're certainly right as far as the Heat, playing zone a lot. Let's see. Lakers versus zone. So I'm not sure I'm going to be able to add this up that quickly, but let's try. You guys can help me with some math. You guys have your calculators ready? But I'll get to it in a second. But Sharp Kid Thugga, thank you so much. Why was Jimmy Butler so timid scoring tonight? I think his ankle is probably bothering him. He doesn't get the same lift as he normally does. But I wouldn't say he was timid. He got 12 free throws. He was going to the hole hard. I was impressed with that. It seemed like he passed up multiple looks at the rim. Certainly that one they threw away backwards, that was not good. And by the way, that's the effect that AD has. When he's around, you got to be worried about getting that shot off. And LeBron can do that a little bit too. And then certainly Dwight. Do you think he's worried about his ankle? So yeah, I think there's no question that left ankle, that's the one, left ankle. Right? Yeah. I'm picturing the replay. I think it's the left ankle. And that's the one you want to jump off of when you're a righty a lot of the time. So you'll see him jumping off of both feet a lot more. And I think that was the times when he had more success. But I think it's got to be that. And then, every once in a while, Jimmy loses his mind a little bit and becomes timid. It's weird. He looks the part of the man some of the time, but other times he doesn't. So, all right, here we go. I'm just going to try and sort this by makes threes. Let's see. The only problem is we're not going to have the free throws. So what did the Lakers shoot from the line? They didn't take that many, right? What did they do? The Lakers shot 10 for. They didn't shoot from the line, 10 for 17. So let's just look at the fouls and the makes and whatever. I'm going to see if I can add this up really quickly. So against the zone, 3, 5, 7, 10, 13, 16, 19, 21, 23, 25, 28. 30, 33, 35, 37, 39, 41, 45, 48. Wow. 51, 53, 50, 56, 59, 61, 63, 65, 67, 69, 72. And how many possessions? 70. So they have probably a little bit more than 72 points because there's some free throws in there. So to answer your question about the zone, they were well over 1.0 points per possession. So it is a good question why they played so much zone. It wasn't as effective as that's too good. You can't give up over 1.0 points per possession and hope to win that game. I think that they did it because they were small. They didn't have Bam. They needed to protect their, Olenek. They needed to protect the guys from fouls. That's another reason why there's not a lot of fouls against the Heat because they're playing zone so much. It's easier to play your position and not foul. But you give up a lot of second chance points, which is what we saw, and you'll give up a lot of shots, and that's what we saw as well. So a good point there. I'm not going to be able to go through all 72 possessions of zone that the Heat ran, but that the Lakers ran against the Heat zone. So I'm thinking like for tomorrow's breakdown, I'll probably take like the 10 clips that are indicative of what happened throughout the whole game. But good question. Brian Lau, oh my goodness, thank you. Oh wait, I'm missing one. The Trib 1, Jimmy Butler's never been timid. He's a 20-point score average. Not a superstar, never has been. He's a Middleton-level player with clutch in his veins. That's a good way to put it. Yeah, but he does look like a first-tier player sometimes, but it's not consistent. He's just not that guy. He's not like your number one player on a championship team. But man, he's an awesome number 2. And they don't have like the number 1, so he's got to kind of play that role, and he might be able to fill that role for a couple of these games. Maybe that's when they win 1 or 2 of them. But that's a really good way to describe it. The Trib 1. Brian Lau, first time trying this, Coach Nick. Well, thank you. I've been watching your videos since the beginning. Love your analysis. Would you trade PG for LeVert Dinwiddie picks? Wow. Well, they need picks back because they gave up so many to get Kawhi and PG, right? And LeVert is really good, and Dinwiddie, I would do that because I think Dinwiddie gives them some things they don't have as well right now. So I would probably do that. Now, the only problem is you're losing defense. Paul George is better defensively than LeVert or Dinwiddie, and that's an interesting issue. And I think they like the defensive presence that Paul George does bring to them. But you are dealing with some off and on stuff offensively that you got to deal with PG. But then again, I kind of want to. I thought I saw enough good stuff from Paul George in this playoffs that he had a couple clunkers. That happens. That I think I'd be willing to stick with him. But that's not a bad trade. I would certainly really entertain that. And obviously, it depends on what picks. If it's 2 picks in their first rounders and they're like not protected in the lottery, then yeah, for sure. But it depends what those picks would be. But it's not. You're getting somewhere on that one, Brian. So thanks. The Trib 1 again. My goodness. Embiid to the Heat. And Embiid and Bam in the front court. Wow. That would be really interesting because certainly Bam can stretch the floor and play the mid post and the higher out. And then Embiid, that would probably be a good fit for them. I think they would certainly like that. My little birdie was telling me that they're probably gonna do some roster changes on Philly. My take would be that they would move Simmons, but if they move anybody like that, I think Tobias works well for them. And I think everybody else is probably negotiable. But I would be surprised if they move, either Embiid or Simmons. But I suppose if someone throws them something. But what would the Heat have to give back? You know what I mean? That would be tough. They'd have to give back, probably Tyler Hero. They'd probably have to give, to get Embiid, they have to give, probably throw some filler like a Linux and that kind of thing. But I don't know. I don't know if the Heat have enough to really lure that without decimating their team. Because the Heat, I like what the Heat have. They just need to do a little bit more. They don't need to do a ton. Like I don't know if they need a splash like Embiid so much. Maybe, I don't know. Good. You're onto something there. Dave Wu, thank you so much. I think is NT New Zealand again. I keep forgetting. Coach, what do you think of the Kyrie comment on head coaching and Steve Nash? Gosh darn it all, I have not seen what the Kyrie comment is on head coaching and Steve Nash. Does anybody want? Can someone link me? And maybe I can kind of look at it really quickly. I don't even know if it's going to be possible, but. Let me know if it's easy and I can read it if it's not too long. So I don't know. I'm sorry, Dave. I want to be able to tell you, but I don't know what it is. BB Coach JW33, oh my goodness, thank you. Looking forward to next year. Do the Heat improve on the 5 seed they had this year? I think that's, one of the Heat beat writers had said they could have had the 4th seed. There's just no incentive because they're in the bubble, so that's one thing. How much do Nunn and Hero develop? I think they both really develop, and I think Hero is going to really get to be really good, and Nunn too. And I could really help Nunn, so maybe his agent will let me help him. And he can develop too, and that he's like Nunn is like Karis LeVert a little bit in that same mold. So they both can be really good, and if they develop like they should, then the Heat are getting closer to getting where they want to go without needing to do a drastic change in the personnel. But that said, that makes them also valuable as a trade assets as well. Ahad Khatri, thank you so much. Hey, Coach, love your analysis. Where do you think Giannis goes? Also, have you heard what Kyrie said about KD? Do you think he took a shot at LeBron? Gosh darn it. What was Kyrie doing out there talking? I don't see it. I was too busy watching what was going on with the White House and COVID, I guess, all day long. It's all I was watching. Giannis tweeted a while ago that Milwaukee fans are the best and he can't wait for the next season. He is staying. Well, that's certainly what you want to hear. Oh, Gigolo Puff is now saying Kyrie said they don't have a real head coach. He said that? What? I don't really see Nets having a head coach. What does that mean? Okay, well, Kyrie likes to say things that are hard to fathom because obviously they have a head coach, but I guess he must be looking at it like Nash is a real by committee and takes a lot of input from people. Like that might be what he's trying to say, and so it doesn't feel like he's got like a taskmaster head coach. I would hope that's what he's saying, but that's interesting. Does that make sense? That's probably what he's trying to do, but that's interesting, man. And then he never had a teammate he trusts in the clutch before. Oh, wow. That's what he said, too. How could you not trust LeBron in the clutch? Well, let's see. LeBron made in this. I don't know. Wow. So listen, Kyrie's throwing some darts, and he knows what he's saying. He's not just talking off the cuff here. If he says he never had a player that he's in the clutch before that he's trusted, that's amazing to me. Wow. That's a shot at LeBron without question. That's a shot at LeBron, and I don't think it's earned, really. Right? I feel like LeBron has come through enough where that it's not merits that. But you know what? He's trying to build up KD too and make him feel good. So, wow. So that's some shots fired though. Let him eat cake. Thank you. Very, very generous. Laker fans and Bron sexuals will have successfully bullied Coach into a praise video of the Lakers. I thought Coach's breakdowns were fair. Laker and Bron fans so toxic. This is a wine fest. Thank you. I appreciate it, and I recognize that. But listen, the Lakers are as valid of an audience segment as everybody else, and so I want to make sure that I'm trying to find that sweet spot where everyone's happy. But I hear you loud and clear too, Let him eat cake. Antonio Vro, thank you. Why doesn't Miami Heat's coach just put 2 or 3 bigs at the same time with Jimmy and either Hero or Nunn? So who would that be? So they started that way, right? They had, well, actually, who did they start? They started Leonard is the only big. I mean, what is it going to be? Myers, Leonard, and Kelly Olynyk? Okay, then who do you have to sit? You have to sit, Robinson, who's definitely looking like a deer in the headlights in the finals. And they're hoping that by giving him minutes, he'll get more and more comfortable so that eventually he's going to start doing what he does. But man, the Lakers are really keying in on him and trying to attack him on the defensive end too, which is getting him all out of whack. But I would imagine they might try that in Game 3. They're going to have to start trying some interesting things. I also think that they probably have never played Olynyk and Myers Leonard together. So it's like you're going to really expect them to do well, having never played together before all season long. That's tough, and it's hard for Spoelstra to do that. So they might try it, though, because they're getting down to the last gasp here where they can try and get something done. So good. So we'll see it. We'll see something. But Varun Rispud, my goodness, thank you, man. What do you think of the Sixers hiring Doc? If he does not take the Sixers to the finals, will this be his last job? Wow, that's pretty interesting. I was preparing a video on Wednesday for why Doc got fired, and it was all going okay, and I was going to get ready to drop it today. And then, boom, he goes and takes D'Antoni's job. I thought that was D'Antoni's job. And he sneaks in there and at night or whatever and, meets with Elton Brand, and then, boom, they hired him in a second, right? I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do, but again, it sounds like they're going to have some personnel changes, and I just don't know what that means. If it's going to be on the margins, or they're going to actually, break up the two. Doc has had good offense. So there, one of the criticisms of him this year was like the offense didn't have a good, they didn't have the roles defined. When he had Blake and CP3, they ran really good offense that really had good sound principles, high post action, good movement. So I'm sure he can get that back, and run, even and beat out the high post and do. So Simmons isn't like CP3, so it's a bit of a challenge. But running Simmons off of handoffs from the elbow with Embiid, it would be awesome to see. Get him going downhill and setting everybody up, or finishing right-handed when it should be left. So I think that they could get that working. Now, I don't think, honestly, I just don't feel it in my bones that Simmons and Embiid together is going to win a title anyway. So that could be, Doc could just be doomed if that's what they're going to try and push. But I think it'll be better than Brett Brown. I really think. I think that'll be it'll be better. Hi Choi, thank you so much. How many more until LeBron surpasses MJ? And that was an interesting question. So Justin broke that thing down, man, and I still feel like MJ has an edge. They're just different players. But I would imagine that LeBron would need to get 6 to surpass MJ. I would think that's what he would need to do. You got to split hairs at this point, and I would think he has to get 5 or 6. How many does he have? 4. So 5 would he do this year? I don't know. I mean, getting this one's going to help, but I feel like he's going to have to get one more. I don't know if he can do it. A hot guitar, Akatri, thank you again so much. LeBron gets asked about his relationship with AD and what common ground they have. He stops and thinks, then says, "We're not jealous of each other." Wow, okay. Now, who do you think he's talking about? Who's LeBron talking about? LeBron heard Kyrie, and then I'm sure he's throwing the shots back at there. Isn't this great? The pettiness is, listen, if you want petty, I guess you got to go to Worldwide Wob. But we can analyze a little pettiness here. But that's fun. It's fun to see each other, like needle each other, whatever. I'm sure they're not friends. There's no love lost between LeBron and Kyrie. I don't know. I have a feeling we're going to see some more shots fired going forward. LeBron has 3 rings. Did I miss it up? He only has 3. This will be the 4th one if he makes it. Okay. Why did I think he had 4? He got 2 and 2 and then 1. Okay. So what's my finals pick for next year? I had this whole vision of like Dallas doing it, but I just don't know about KP. If he can't stay healthy, then forget about it. But if he does, and listen, why wouldn't Denver? Denver might lose like Grant, for instance, but I think Michael Porter Jr. is going to become the next KD. I really do. And depending on how quickly that happens, Denver could be a real big problem for them. I'm forgetting. Oh, there's a team, the Warriors. They're going to be healthy, and they're going to, I'm sure, pick up somebody else as well. So keep your eye on them. So the Lakers are going to have a lot bigger challenge, I think, for next year than they did this year. Now, is it going to be in the bubble again? Probably, because it looks like we're going to hit. COVID's coming back again. We seem like we follow Europe. Europe has gotten hit hard again. It's coming back. Everyone seems to think it will come back again here. So if they're going to start a season in January, I would think it has to be in the bubble. And if not, they'll be playing like in empty arenas in different places, but then they have to travel. I don't know how that's going to work. It's going to be a nightmare. The Trib won. Dragic, Andre, and Duncan with 2 to 3 first-round picks and 2 second-round picks for Joel. Also, I think Golden State is the only comp for Lakers in the West next year. No, I think Denver could be there again. They're gonna get better. They'll figure out a way to get better. I'm missing some people in the West, man. Besides Dallas, I know there's another team that's gonna be good. Somebody tell me. Anyway, let's see here. Jordan couldn't beat Bird in the Celtics once. In fact, he was swept 6-0 by Bird. I mean, that is true, but do you realize that what that Bird team was? Like the greatest of all time, like top 5 of all time teams. So that was tough, and Michael did his damage at least. Let's see here. So Dragic, Andre, and Duncan Robinson. I don't know. I mean, Dragic does not really have any value. Neither does Andre. So I don't see why Philly does that trade. It's not enough for them. They would want like Tyler Hero guaranteed at least. Thomas Malone, thank you. Why do you put MJ above Bill Russell when he has less championships? Yeah, you put LeBron above MJ with less championships. That's a great point. So Bill Russell was really limited on offense. He really was. He didn't. He had his hands were okay. He had this really stiff hook shot that he could kind of make. Didn't have any other skill like that. Didn't really dribble. Didn't really shoot. Not that he was asked to do that, but he just didn't really do that. He couldn't do that. So it's tough, man. His thing was the defense. He was just an eraser. You know what I mean? And he could pass a little bit, high post. Like he's a a normal passer. Because remember, bigs back then all had to do that high post passing stuff. So he was okay with that. But like his individual skill just kind of pales, I think, in comparison to those guys. So that's why I think Russell doesn't quite get up into that conversation. He was dominant. There's no question about that. But he's, you know what I mean? It's like, it's just not fair. MJ had so much more skill. LeBron had so much more skill. So that's probably the answer to it. But, whether it's fair or not, I don't know. But that's why. I watched that footage with Bill Russell. I'm like, I see it on one end of the floor, but not the other. So, in a way that's not like the dominating thing compared to the other guys. So that's probably what's going on with that. But with LeBron and MJ, skill wise. But listen, LeBron is a much more powerful guy. He's got intangibles that Michael certainly just can't compete with the size and the height. But you're talking about overall impact and dominance in the game. I still think Michael had that across the board, both sides of the floor. In his era, I think he had that more than LeBron did. Let's see. Varun, oh my goodness. Thank you, man. I can't say thank you enough. Do you think that Portland should break the backcourt? Probably. Can there be a trade between Portland and the Sixers? Now you're talking. They've given it the old college try and then some. And you might have to figure that like they need to do something drastic. And I know they really get along and they do work well together. But it might just be one of those things where it's been like 5 years, 6 years, maybe more. When I started B-Ball Breakdown, I think that was when Dame was a rookie, or maybe the next year. So he's been in the league 9 years, and then CJ's been in the league for seven or eight. So it might be time. Let's see here. Oh, Farhan 30. Thank you, Farhan B 30. Would triangle and 2 be effective versus LBJ and LAD? Let's try it. Let's find out. You know what I mean? Let's see. Now, you're going to give up a lot of other stuff for the other players, and LeBron is so good at skip passing that they'll get open shots. But why not see what happens? You know what I mean? Make it junky, make it off. Try a couple possessions. I'm willing to. I can't tell you. I can't say, it would never work. I'm definitely down for 1-2, a triangle 2-2-1 full court press, 2-3 trapping 1-2-2, whatever it takes. Throw the kitchen sink at him, see what happens, for sure. So, well, listen, we come to an hour. We've had guests on the show. We can hear almost everybody. We've had amazing super chats. We've had even some good chats in here too. We got Gigolo Puff out there throwing out, keeping everybody clean and answering questions for me too. Dark RH, wait, B-Ball, are you a Trump supporter? I think that most people who know me here could laugh and tell you that I'm as far as from a Trump supporter as is humanly possible. And I don't wish anyone ill health, but karma is, I believe the term is karma is a bitch, and that is what's going on with Trump right now. And again, no one deserves getting COVID. No one deserves suffering like that. But the way they flaunted not only the masks, but the social distancing, it's like, what did you expect? And by the way, I have a political podcast called the Muckrake Podcast. And if you want to, by the way, if you are a Trump supporter, I would listen to it. But if you aren't and you want some interesting, really great historical context, me and my partner Jared, who's a New York Times bestselling writer, we really get into the deep historical context of political stuff and explain how it connects to the past and then social and economic stuff. It's really a good one, and it's doing really well. So if you like it, Muckrake Podcast. You can also follow me at Can You Hear Me SMH, which is my politics side. I keep it separate. But anyway, and we have a Patreon over there too, where we do some really fun stuff with like private chats like this. Which reminds me, by the way, so I'm really thinking about this, doing that like a thing. What am I doing? A membership, a YouTube membership, where like there's different tiers, and one tier would be like a live, you get a live show like this once a month and for like 99 cents, and then we'll do a breakdown, a couple breakdowns a month, and then a couple more of these for the next tier. So let me know if that's what I'll probably do a poll in the community. And let me know how you feel about that. But I kind of want to at least try it and see how you guys like it, because it would be a great way to kind of get a really cool membership, and we can interact more personally. And quite honestly, the way I'm just going to tell you, the playoffs, the way the NBA works is like they claim almost all these videos right away. So business-wise, it's been a little bit rough. And if we can build something with a membership where you guys are happy and I'm giving you extra content, then that'll all really work out well. And I want to make sure it's a really high value, situation for everybody. So, do I have another one of these, another super chat? So anyway, so let me know. I'm looking here, membership. It seems like people would want to do it anyway. It would help. It would really help me, and I would love to be able to be part of that. We created a Patreon for my political podcast, and I got to tell you, there's like 100 of us, and we have a Discord coming up now, and we all just have this little, and that could happen with this too in the membership in a way that it's really exciting. So. Keep giving me insight into that, and I'll do a community post a couple times to get some more suggestions from you guys. I'm almost thinking that what I could do is do an extended version of all my breakdowns. So whatever you might see on YouTube, that let's say it's a 9-minute video, I always trim stuff out a lot of the time. I could probably have a bonus version that's like 10 or 11 minutes, and that can go into the membership as well. So think about that. I could argue fair use, and I would win that in court, but it would take me 5 years and cost me $5 million, and I don't feel like doing that. So good point on the fair use. Gian Al-Qaeda, something like that. Sorry if I butchered your name, but we love Canadians. Do you think that shooters of only Steph and Clay caliber are what's needed to beat LeBron, or will it take a big body or even better defense? I don't know if you need to have Steph Clay caliber, but you got to have the next level down, and you have to have multiple ones of those. And the Heat kind of have that. But you got to be able to consistently penetrate the defense. And what you're seeing with the Heat on offense is there are too many possessions where the ball doesn't get below the free throw line, and then they're stuck having to throw up a tough shot. And I want to make sure I give enough credit to the Laker defense. They're physical, they're tough, they're really good positionally for the most part. And when they need to do it, and when LeBron needs to do it, he turns it on, and it's like forget about it. Let's see, Jigglypuff, you can do public streams with members only chatters too. Yes, public streams with members only. So a public stream like this, but the only people that can chat are the members? That's fascinating. Okay, that's cool. I didn't even know that. I haven't finished going through the whole training process for a membership. But again, I got to write that stuff down. Don't forget it. Keep suggesting those things. Oh my God, the Canadian conservative. Thank you so much. Before you go, can you elaborate on what you mean when you say YouTube claims your content? So if you want to monetize, the NBA has a choice of whether they want to not let you do that. So that's what that means when they claim it. They'll take the money instead. That's what happens. So a brief insight into how the YouTube ecosystem works. These are not claimed because it's just me talking. It's my footage, and other things I do on the court are mine, which is nice. But obviously the NBA stuff, when their footage is in there, is what gets a lot of the interest. So Coach, would you ever do this again and do a live show with your fans? Yeah. Oh, I would. Yeah, for sure. And you know what? I'll figure that out where we can get it. So Ennis, get that mic working better. See if you can, it looks like a nice mic. See if we can figure out how to get it to go with a higher volume. That would be the other thing is if we do a membership, then it would be so easy for me to bring people into the Wirecast and then broadcast like this and have a real discussion, almost like we do on IG. I just wish it was a little bit easier, but you know what? It took me 30 seconds, 20 seconds to let you in, put you on the screen. Boom. No problem. So anyway, well, listen, awesome talk. Awesome. What a great show tonight. Really great show. And a good game. It was a good game. It was fun. We had some intrigue, some good basketball. We'll be back here again for game 3 on Sunday night. So don't miss that. Hopefully we let's get the Heat 1 game. Let's not go in 4. I don't want to end the season so quickly. I want to be able to hang out with you guys more, but, we'll keep talking. Let's not also forget, I got to figure out if I do a membership during the off season or do I just wait for the season to start in January? I don't know. You got to help me figure that out too. But at any rate, thank you guys for joining us. It was amazing, awesome. All the super chatters. I can't run through everyone's name again. That killed me last time. But just know that you're in my thoughts. Thank you so much. Please, everybody, be safe. Wash your hands. Wear masks. Keep yourself distanced from everybody when you're on the street and outside. It's coming back. It's going to be rough. Please stay safe out there. And then don't forget, at B-Ball Breakdown, we're not a channel. We're a conversation. You in?